Hey PC gamers, and welcome back to the PC Gamer Chat Log. I am Lauren Morton.
And hey everyone, I'm Mollie Taylor.
And it is the start of a new year. Welcome back to January on Chat Log. We didn't have a January on Chat Log last year because we started later. Happy New Year. Brand new year, new things, same podcast. The one difference that is exciting that Mollie and I are going to be doing this year is there's going to be a space on the PC Gamer forums where we're going to be talking every week about the episode. So usually our episodes every week are kind of like question based. They're just like topics we're talking about, things that everybody else certainly has opinions on. They're welcome to share. And the space that you can be able to do that in is forums.pcgamer.com. And you will find us there talking about the episode as it goes up each week on Thursday at noon Eastern, 5 p.m. Mollie time. That's UK time.
Mollie time. Can we
Mollie
just call it Mollie time?
That's
no
how
more
I think
GMT. It's just Mollie time now.
Mollie Standard Time, actually. Nobody's taken MST, right? Maybe that, I don't know. That's probably an acronym for something weird and horrible that I didn't look up before it came out of my mouth. Anyway, you guys can talk to us on the forums now. That's the space where we have conversations with all of you. So this week, we are going to be getting into the topic of just looking ahead at this year. So we're going to be talking about several different things like our resolutions or gaming resolutions for this year. We're going to be making some very unadvisedly early game of the year predictions, and you're welcome to share yours with us too, on what you think could potentially be this year's game of the year before we've seen hardly anything launch. Just take a stab in the dark. What's it going to be, just for funsies? But before we get to all of that, Mollie, what did you play last week?
Yeah, so I feel very refreshed. I've been still playing a lot of the stuff that I picked up over winter break, which we'll be getting into a little later in this episode. But I've also kind of crawled back a little bit to Final Fantasy 14. I played a tiny bit of that. I'm like very on and off with it at the moment. But FanFest just happened, and I really want to get all my classes to 90 before the new expansion comes out. So I'm very close, a little bit more casual playing over the months, and I will be there. So I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 again. I also finally got to play some Lethal Company. The game like blew up a couple months ago, and a lot of my friends have been playing it, and like unfortunately I've just not really been like included in that. I feel like with these games, if you're not there like
on the day,
on the day everyone decides to play for the first time, if you're not there for that, like it's game over for you. Like you are like out of that. You're out of that circle. Like it could be your best friend in the whole world, and if you miss that day, that's it. That's your opportunity.
You're not in this group.
Yeah. That's your opportunity, like, gone, right?
It's with the weird co-op one, so like weird, like not, I don't want to say slapstick, but like everybody, it's like how Phasmo was, you know? Like either you're in Phasmo when everybody got into Phasmo, but like when your friends got into Phasmo, or like you missed the boat on the first night of everybody screaming and wailing and crying, and then you just don't understand what's going on and nobody will explain it to you.
Yes, and because everyone knows how to play, like they don't really want to like carry you through it all, because
they won't suffer through your wailing and crying.
So that's kind of what happened to me. So even though I've really been wanting to play for like about a month and a half now, I've really been wanting to play since the game came out, and I've just not been able to, but I finally did. It's very goofy, but like in a good way. I like the little loot bugs that scuttle around that you have to hit with a shovel. I like when these like horror games, like you said, like with Phasmo, kind of veer into like unintentional comedy, I want to say. Like they're still kind of scary, but they're funny. Like my friend had a cold and I could just hear him on the other side of the building like sneezing, and it was just echoing down the hallway towards me, and I was like, this is so goofy, but I love it. So yeah, I really hope I get to play some more of that. That would be really fun. And then I also played the new Prince of Persia game. I played Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. You can read my thoughts about that. The review should be live like now.
Mhm.
So you can go read my thoughts on that. I am not as enthusiastic as I was when I previewed it. That's all I will say. You have
That'll
to,
happen.
yeah, you have to read the whole thing if you wanna know what I really thought about it. Go read the review on PCGamer.com. So yeah, I've been playing a lot. I've been really like dipping my toe into lots of different things. I feel like I've got like a nice rejuvenated
Mhm.
enthusiasm for gaming at the minute, which
Ready to
is,
tackle the year.
yeah, I feel really
Until the
good. I
rest
just
of winter comes and we get so tired and worn down and we are
and I'm
crawling
fed
towards
up.
spring
Yeah.
desperately.
And I'm absolutely fed up. But no, I feel
Mhm.
invigorated. I just put new RAM in my PC as well, like a
Oh
couple of
yeah.
hours ago. I got 32 gig of RAM now. Uh, feels pretty good. Feels good, man. It is. It's gonna be. It's a good setup for the year. So yeah, that's me. That's what I've been up to. How about you, Lauren? What did you get up to?
Very nice. So something that I will talk about as we get to talking about our resolutions in this episode is that I am wanting to play one new to me game every week. So,
Yes.
as part of that promise, I did play two new to me things this week. I played Bugaboo Pocket, the demo, which is it's a Tamagotchi-ish. It's like a virtual pet simulator thing, but it's all
Oh,
bugs. There's a demo right now. It's not out yet. It's planned for sometime this year. Um, and I did also write about that on the website more than I planned to. I was like, I'm going to play this demo and I'm going to write about it. It'll be like, a quick news post with a bit of like, I got to play a little bit of it. Here's what I think. And then I wrote more words than I planned about Bugaboo Pocket because it's very cute. I don't like bugs, real life bugs, but man, they sure make them cute. And they have like real bug names and you learn things
oh.
about them and you have to pet them the correct way. And there's little mini games that you do to keep them entertained. So there's like, you start with I call it a pill bug and it's literally not even a pill bug. It's not that same species. It's a rubber duck isopod is what it's called. That's a bug
Why does that
fact
sound
I
so
learned.
cute?
I know, why is its name so cute? And when your rubber duck isopod is very small, you do pachinko with it, and then when it gets bigger, you do this like arcade, like building a bridge thing that's like timing based. And then eventually it's like an infinite runner in a tunnel that you're shooting your little rubber duck
Oh
isopod
my
down.
god.
So you can, also they die. The bugs have
Oh,
short lifespans. This is important to know. That's literally the first thing I said when I wrote about it. So if you want to hear more about Bugaboo Pocket, that's also on the website. And then I picked up something a little bit older, something lots of the cozy game folks recommend, and I just like missed at the time is Witchwood with a Y,
mm.
Tch, Witchwood. Um, it's I do like it. It's very pretty. The action is very like hefty, like kinetic. I like in those games when like you chop stuff, you pick stuff up, it just feels like it feels good to like pick and chop things and it's not like weirdly slow. Some of those games like the animations for like doing the stuff that you're doing constantly just slow you down so much and it feels bad, man. But so it feels great, it looks great. It's not a simulation though. It's not a crafting or life or farming simulation. It's more of an adventure game, is what it is. You've got like
Ooh.
different areas you're visiting around the swampy swamp that your witch, and your magical goat live in. And you're like collecting resources to create items to achieve specific effects. Like, this area is blocked by these guards that want you to do a thing. So you have to go collect resources to make the thing, to make the other thing, to do the thing that gets the guards out of the way. So it is adventure game style rather than simulation game style, which is not what I was expecting, but I did enjoy like a couple hours I've played of
Cool.
it so far. So
Yeah, that sounds
yeah,
awesome.
it is very, very nice. It is um what did I write on the website like last year, the year before? Finally a game where I can be a creepy witch in the woods. And I was talking about Rekka,
Yes.
which I'm excited for this year. But Witchwood, by the way, also a game where you get to be a creepy witch in the woods. It's just a different kind of game. It's not a building, crafting, farming simulation. It is a crafting and adventuring simulation. So yeah, that's what I played this past week. Um, yeah, anything else? I guess let's just get into the rest of the year ahead,
Yeah.
all the many things that we're going to be talking about this year. Okay, Molly, I know we just talked about things that we played last week, but I do also want to talk about what we played over break because that's
Yes.
like a sacred special time. The like week between the holidays that we take off from the website that is treasured. We
Mm-hmm.
plan ahead for this during December while we're all frantically writing features that whole month. We're like, this is what I'm going to play over break when I'm not thinking about the website at all. So, what did you play?
Yeah, it really is a sacred week for us, I feel like. It's like the one week of the year where we can play games and not think about how to like
Write about them.
write about them. Yeah. Like that is it's like the
No
one week we
guilt, no
get.
pressure.
Yep. No, no, none of that. No, like, oh, I'm playing this. I should really think of like something to say about it. Like, I could just play things purely for pleasure, and it's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. So I picked up a couple things in the Steam sale, but before that, I went back to Monster Hunter World, which it turns out everyone else is also going back to. Like, that game came out in I want to say 2018 and it
Something like
just
that.
hit, yeah, it just hit like on New Year's Day. It hit like a 130,000 concurrent player count. It was like
Mm-hmm.
in the 20 most played games like that day on Steam, which is kind of crazy to me. But it's such a good game. I went back to that because a bunch of my friends were wanting to go back to it, and I was also in the mood to go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I played that. That was super fun, always such a good game to play with friends as well. And then I went into the Steam sale and you spoke so much about Chance of Sanaa over like the last few months
Mm-hmm.
before the holiday break. And I was like, okay, it was in the sale. I was like, I'll buy it. I'll try it. I was like hooked immediately, and you messaged me as well because you saw that that I was playing it, and you sent me a message about it. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm not finished. I've
Mm-hmm.
played like 10 hours or something. I'm really
Yeah.
stupid. It's like
No.
exposing how stupid I am.
Are
Because
you stuck in the like gardeny place by
that
any
is currently
chance?
where I am. I'm like almost done with that now.
I got stuck there for a very long time. Like several nights I kept coming back and chipping away at that area. There are
Yeah,
parts of that language that are so tricky. Some of the
it
hints
is.
are very difficult.
It's very, very tricky. Yeah, because for those of you who haven't heard Lauren talk about this game before or haven't read her piece about it, because it was your personal pick
It was my
for
personal pick for last year, yeah.
2023, wasn't it? Yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
the game that you liked the most that wasn't in our Game of the Year awards.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a language-based puzzler. So you go into these different areas and they all have like their own languages, right? And then you have to like kind of use context clues and figure out like what like these words mean, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
follow the same like grammatical structure of English. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's like the object is first, or like sometimes it is like a pretty straight translation to English, right? Or sometimes it's like object, verb. I forget what the order is, but it's like
There's like the first language that you do, when they do plurals, they do the noun twice. They do the symbol for the noun
yes,
twice, and that's plural. And then you get to the next one, and they have a symbol that means plural. So it's a
plural.
noun and a symbol, and that's like a plural thing. And then you get to the next one, and they flip the order of like verbs and objects, like you're saying. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they speak. They
It's
they do Yoda style.
they do Yoda style, yeah. But it's so satisfying to like finally figure out what a word means, and then
Hmm.
because even sometimes the diagrams, I'm like, what the hell does this diagram mean?
Oh, so
Like,
yeah, some of them are so tough. The
I
like
like
sketches that
what?
you're pairing with words. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one diagram where it's just a guy like this, and I'm like, what does that mean?
What
Like
is
his like
this?
hands like on his chest, and I'm like, what does that mean? But no, it is so fun. I
Hmm.
am almost out of the gardens now. Really looking forward to finishing it. I will be sad when I finish it because it is such like a creative puzzler,
Hmm.
and with our job as well, like we're such language buffs anyway. I feel like you kind
Hmm.
of have to be a writer, I
A game
think.
about language is so
Yeah.
like every time. It's so
It's
fun.
so fun. So yeah, I played Chances Sanaa, and then like right before the holiday was over, like the night before we were all coming back, I ended up buying Spin Rhythm XD, which is like a rhythm game. And I wasn't like, I didn't really know what to expect. I just picked it up because it was on sale. And I had wanted to play it earlier last year, and I didn't for whatever reason. But I picked it up in the sale, and oh my god, it is one of the best rhythm games I have ever played. It is so, so good. It's like, it feels like a rhythm game that has been made by people who play rhythm games and understand rhythm games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are so many nice little quality of life features. Like, when you look at a song and you change the difficulties, it shows you like the note chart.
Oh,
So you
okay.
can like kind of see at a glance like how difficult it's going to be, which is something that a lot of games just don't do. You kind of have to just throw yourself into the song and find out. You know, there's like a practice mode, which again is something a lot of rhythm games don't have.
Mm-hmm.
um the songs are just long, man. They're so long. They're like 4 minutes long, which
That's
is
too much. That's a
so,
lot
that's so freaking long for a rhythm
to
game.
focus.
To focus, yeah, like sometimes I feel like I have like an internal clock at this point for when a rhythm game song should
Mm-hmm.
be over. So it'll get to a point in the song and I'm like, oh cool, that's
We're
the
still
end.
going.
And I'll look down and there's like 2 minutes left and I'm like, how? Like, how is that even possible? But it's so fun. um yeah, that was really cool. And then I somehow got bullied into buying a Steam Deck. That is not something I played.
Oh, that's right. You wanted to do that last year, and
I
you
did.
held off. Which did you get? One of
Yeah.
the half price original ones or the OLED?
I went all out.
You
I got
sprung for the
I
OLED.
got the 1 terabyte OLED. I think I had said in our last episode of 2023, I think I had said I will probably buy a Steam Deck
Yeah, but I
in
didn't believe you.
2024. Yeah, well, I bought one. I was having drinks with my dad and he just went, "Why don't you own a Steam Deck yet?" And I was like, "Yeah, literally he
Are
was
you
just like, "Why don't you
contributing to
own?"
the fund?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, they're expensive. And he was like, just get one. He was like, I know you can afford one. He was like, just buy one. And I was like, first of all, that's cheeky. Second of all, you are right. Like, my current financial situation means I can like afford a Steam Deck.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked into it and I was like, okay, fine. He was like, I'll buy you the dock if you buy the Steam Deck. That was the bargain. That
That was
was,
the contribution. That's
yeah,
nice of him.
that was the contract. Was it? I'll buy the dock and you buy the Steam Deck. And he was like
Mm-hmm.
already buying the dock as he was saying this. So I was like, okay, I'll buy a Steam Deck. That came a few days ago,
Mm-hmm.
so I've played it a little bit, not a whole bunch yet. But, it's beautiful. It's so good. I didn't
You
realize
got
just
out of that
how.
chair.
Yeah, I didn't realize how badly I needed to like lie in bed with my Steam games and just be able to play them. Like, especially because I've been kind of sick this week as well. So that's been the perfect opportunity for me to be like, well, I'm kind of sick, so I don't want to be at my desk, but I really want to play Chance of Sanaa. So I could just lie in bed and boot it up and play it, and it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I've been missing out, man. I've been missing out so bad. I didn't know how badly I needed it. And it's great like portability as well, right? So the OLED, like the 1 terabyte OLED model, has the case has like a removable liner as well. So you
Oh,
can
okay.
make the case like a lot thinner to
Mm-hmm.
carry the Steam Deck in. So it's pretty cool. I'll
Nice.
report back at the end of the year
Yeah, you're gonna
how
have to
much I
keep
played.
telling me what you've been playing on your Steam Deck every
Yeah,
week now,
I feel
and
like
how
it's
it's
gonna
going.
broaden my horizons. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel I had a really good holiday break actually. I got up to a lot of stuff. It was really really nice. How about you, Lauren? What did you play over the holidays?
I played exactly as advertised, and I really was not focusing on games that much. I played a little bit of Roots of Pacha before like doing traveling for the holidays, and I did make it to like the winter season and then to year two in Roots of Pacha. Stone Age,
Ooh,
Stardew, like a game that I've talked about plenty. I really liked it last year. I did play more. As I told you, I was like, well, I've split my time between my co-op save and my single player save, so neither of them are that far. So I did go back to my single player save, and I like did more stuff. I still have not discovered the invention of irrigation. I still am not wifed up, but you know what? Life is a journey.
yeah.
It's about the journey. So, and then I did turn back on Palia, and that's what I did mostly. The social sim MMO that you and I both tried some of last year. And the reason I wound up playing so much Palia was because I really was doing a lot of reading over a break. And Palia, because of the way it operates, like your farm plots will roll over and grow like once per in-game day, which is like one real world hour. So I just left my, like, I downloaded it on my Switch. Like I also have it on my PC. That's where I usually play it, but I downloaded it on my Switch, sat on my couch, and like once per hour I would water my crops, and then eventually I would pick them all and like turn over, and I was just like working on my profit, and I was sitting on my couch reading for most of the break. And normally I don't talk about what I'm reading, but I feel like I do have to own up to this because you can't make fun of me. The series that I'm in the middle of reading right now, Molly, is basically fantasy Yakuza. Is
Why would I make fun of you for that? That sounds amazing.
For anybody that also happens to be an enjoyer of fantasy fiction and likes big chunky books, I know I'm not the only one of those. The first book in the series is called Jade City by Fonda Lee, and it is a secondary world. It's not this world, but it's very clearly like late 1900s Japan. It's like around like the 70s or 80s, and it's very much like military conflict in the Pacific, and it's about, they have these like sort of superpowers like by jade stones, and it's about like two prominent crime families that are having a turf war in this country
God.
over this resource and their magic and their abilities. And I was like, okay, yeah, that is what I'm reading right now. It's just magical Yakuza. Unfortunately.
That sounds amazing. Why would I make fun of you for something that sounds so good?
That's my one book rec of the year, probably. So anybody else that likes the Yakuza games and doesn't get tired of me talking about them, that's the book you should be reading, I guess.
That sounds so good. I feel like I don't do a lot of reading because I already do not have I feel like I don't have 24 hours in a day, so I do not do a lot of reading, but I feel like I have to make an exception for this book. I feel like
you
it
need
has
to
go
play
on
the
list.
Yakuza games before you go reading a book.
I installed Yakuza 0 on my Steam Deck. And I also bought Like a Dragon.
Okay.
In the Steam sale. So
okay.
I bought it and I was like, Lauren will be so proud of me for this.
I am.
I thought of you as I bought it, so
yes, another convert. Now, so speaking of like things that we're doing for this year that we're going to be proud of, what was your resolution? We did do this with the whole team. You can see other people's resolutions at pcgamer.com. I think it was just called like, what are your gaming resolutions or something like that. I don't remember what the title was. What are your 2024 gaming resolutions? That's the one. Molly, what's yours?
Yeah, so mine is like, it's kind of a flip from what I had last year. So last year my resolution was to play less games at my desk. That's what I wanted to do. And as we talked about in our last podcast of 2023, I succeeded, but kind of to a fault. I feel like I played less games at my desk, but I also didn't really play like anything. I played so little last year. So this year I kind of want to like change that. So I want to play more games this year. It's finding the balance, right? Between like playing games for enjoyment, playing games for work, and then doing all the other stuff I like as well. Because I like other stuff that isn't just PC gaming. So yeah, that's kind of why another reason I bought the Steam Deck was because I really want to play more games. I want to get through my backlog a little bit. I don't expect to clear it, but I did put all of my games into collections on Steam based on like priority of how badly I wanted to play them. And then I had some that like I had started and I wanted to go back to them, so I put them in like a separate folder. And then I have a graveyard, which is like there's a lot of games in the graveyard of games that I just know that I won't play. Like games that I know I really won't play, games that like I got in humble bundles. So I've like just resigned myself to have like never gonna play those. But I've got like a good list of games that I really want to get through this year. So I kind of want to get through maybe like 4 or 5 of them. I feel like that would be a pretty good achievement because I think I only finished like 4 games last year and they were all games that I reviewed. So maybe play more games, finishing more games that aren't just to slap a number on them for our website or magazine.
Mine was to try more games, I think. Like
Mm.
I'm not even talking about finishing games. We're not even going to go there. Hopefully I will finish some games and review some things this year. I don't write reviews very often for the website. I do other things, and I leave the reviewing to other people. I managed to wiggle out of it. But I do, at the end of last year while we were talking, I realized that like I like put myself through kind of like a sprint of like trying a bunch of games that I missed throughout the year, because I looked back and I was like, what was I playing all year? Like, what was I doing? I played like Sons of the Forest for like a month with my friends, and then like what else did I do? Like then Baldur's Gate 3 came along, Diablo was in there somewhere. Was that my entire year? Like what was I doing? I was after work, I was reading instead of playing a ton of games. So this year I want to find some balance, and like I want to play one game that's new to me every single week. It doesn't mean I need to finish it.
Ooh.
But I should spend some time, like a couple nights, or like you know, or the weekend doing something that's new and not like retreating into comfort territory and like
Mm-hmm.
doing some ridiculous grinding in Palia or some other MMO that catches my fancy, or like getting like hung up in the Sims, which like I will do, but I want to play something that's new every single week, even if I don't finish it. I want to be able to get to the end of the year and say that like I sampled a bunch of stuff and like I feel confident in like whether they're things that I can recommend to other people. So that's the goal
Yeah,
at the
that's a
moment.
good goal. That's a
Mm-hmm.
good goal. I think balance is the key word, I think, right? That is definitely what I'm also striving for this year. A
Mm-hmm.
little more balance. I hope that at the end of this year we'll have both played like a lot more games and been able to enjoy a lot more stuff. That'd be cool.
Work-life balance and hobby balance.
Yes.
All things um,
Yes.
in moderation. Like last year when we started the podcast, it was getting a little late. It was like the end of February or something when we started the chat log last year. But we did do some very early game of the year predictions. So if we do that this year, it's going to be even earlier, even more totally unfounded. What's the
Yeah.
game of the year going to be, Molly? What's it going to be?
I don't know.
The answers are so less obvious this year.
Yeah,
Because at the beginning
right.
of last year, we knew Baldur's Gate, Diablo, Cyberpunk expansion, and
Starfield.
Starfield. And Starfield. We knew all those things were coming in 2023, and right now there are not things of that size on the
No.
calendar. There are more middle-y sized things.
They
Yeah,
are, yeah. Something I was very, very surprised actually looking at the 2024 release calendar and just seeing how many games did not have a firm release date on them. You know, like
yeah.
between now and March, there's like a healthy number of games coming out, but as soon as you hit like April, that number just like vanishes,
Oh yeah.
like greatly diminishes. Like April, May, June, July, or I don't even think there's I think on our list of PC games coming out this year, I don't think we have any in like July at the minute or something like that. Like it
Mm-hmm.
is very sparse looking at the moment. And there are some really good games coming out. They are not on PC. Like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is
Yeah.
coming out this year, but that is not going to be on PC. So for like game of the year, oh, it's such a toughie. It's such a toughie. Like maybe Dragon's Dogma 2
That would be
might
so weird, but
that
like
would be weird. Stranger things have happened.
I'm curious about Dragon's Dogma too. That's one of the like things that's new to me that I want to try is
Yeah.
Dragon's Dogma, the first one. I mentioned like a couple of months back on the podcast that I did, but I only did like the tutorial. So like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I didn't get into
Didn't
Dragon's
actually
Dogma.
play it.
I need to do that. So
Yeah, I also need to play the first one. And I don't know, I feel like we've seen a lot lately of like sequels to games that haven't had an entry for a very long time,
yeah.
kind of just knocking it out of the park. Alan Wake 2 was like a real surprise hit, I feel like. Everyone really liked Alan Wake 2. Baldur's Gate 3. The last Baldur's Gate came out when I was like 2 or something crazy like that. You know, Baldur's Gate 3 obviously did very well. Oh my god, what was the other one? There was like another one last year.
I mean
I feel like.
Diablo 3
Oh
is
yeah.
rather old and we
Yeah.
got 4.
I feel like there's been a lot of follow-up games to entries that just haven't been out for a while that have done really well. And I feel like maybe Dragon's Dogma 2 will take people by surprise. I'm hoping. There seems to be a lot of hype for that one. There's also like Space Marine 2, the Warhammer 40K game. That's also coming out. If I remember correctly, the first game was received pretty well. I think we gave it like an 82 or
Oh
something
yeah.
when that game first came out. So the first one was received pretty well. Maybe the second one, but I
And
don't
that's
know.
scheduled for September, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's later on in the year. Yeah, so Dragon's Dogma 2 is like March, I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
and then Space Marine 2 is far later on in the year. So
Mm-hmm.
right now, who's to say? Like, who is to say? It is much more of like an even Stevens kind of year for
Mm-hmm.
who might be the front runner at the minute.
I'm thinking we shouldn't overlook Avowed, which is Obsidian's new big
Mm,
RPG that is
yes.
set in the same world as Pillars of Eternity, right? Um, so they're doing another. It's going to be more in the style of the Outer Worlds, where it's like a first person like open world type RPG. I think, and it's their fantasy series. There's magic. Sorry, my dog is snoring so loudly. Baby boy, you need to pet it.
he
Like,
is he is he is not
hello.
coming through, so you're
Okay,
good.
good.
Hopefully no one else can hear.
Sorry to the headphones users. Avowed, yes, that's one to think about. I don't know how I'm feeling about Avowed. I'm not sure. Like, I didn't play the Outer Worlds. I actually skipped over that one because you know
Yeah.
me, I'm not so much the sci-fi girly. I wait for the fantasy. So we'll see how I think Obsidian does with like that style of game. Nightingale, the Victorian crafting thing that's being made
Ooh.
by like at least some former BioWare folks and probably former other places folks as well. That's going to be co-op. That's going to have fashion. It's going to have really big boss enemies. I feel like that could be the Valheim of the year. Valheim was like
Yeah.
a surprise. Like we did not know. Like Valheim came out of nowhere. Nightingale is not coming out of nowhere. But it is like co-op crafting survival. As we've said, the appetite still exists. It still is not going
Mm-hmm.
away. Everybody will play them. Um, Star Wars Outlaws. I don't know when the last time I played a Star Wars was, but
I don't
that's a
remember
Ubisoft
either.
game. Um, so that could turn out well potentially. And then Bloodlines 2, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2,
Oh
Molly,
yeah.
is supposed to come out this year.
I
Will
forgot
it?
about that game.
Big maybe.
Who
Because
knows?
as we know, it has changed developers. It has had a fraught development. They are now re-announcing the vampire clans that are going to be in that game. Like, and they already announced most of them. Like before it, like
A
nearly
while
got
ago.
canned, changed. Development studios went totally silent. The first one was like a weird culty hit. So I don't know. Like maybe Bloodlines 2 will be great. I have no idea, but wouldn't that be wild? If
It'd be
Bloodlines
pretty
2
cool.
showed up, kicked the door in, and was game of the year. That would be quite the comeback story
I
for a
really
game
hope
that
you're right.
nearly died.
You know what? If you, because last year you correctly predicted Baldur's Gate 3.
I did. I
You
did. I'm
you
proud of that.
very yeah, you very correctly predicted Baldur's Gate 3. So I'm gonna trust you on this one.
Oh,
I'm
thanks.
gonna I'm gonna trust you. And
Long
maybe
shot. Bloodlines
long shot,
2.
but maybe. Speaking of games that may or may not gonna release in 2024, what do you think the likelihood of Skull and Bones coming out? This is it March? Is it
Hold
March
on.
that
Hold
that
on. Let me
Ubisoft says
look.
it's coming out?
It's got to be on the list. No, it is February 16th is its current
February's
release
that's
date.
so close.
I can't keep making fun of Skull and Bones. I can't do it. I'm going to be a bully. So I'm not going to say anything. I hope it comes out and I hope it people play it and those people aren't disappointed by playing it. I hope
Yes.
everyone goes home happy against all odds and the
Yes.
many delays. I
Yes.
look, man, I want pirates to be in again, frankly. I want pirates to be back in again. Speaking of
Right?
other media recommendations, watch Black Sails, Black Flag. I don't know where you can even stream that these days.
Oh, I think you
That's a
spoke
pirate
about this
TV show.
before.
That's
Yeah.
freaking good, by the way. So I just want pirates to be in. Um, so best of luck to Skull and Bones. That's how I feel about that.
Yes. Best of luck. I hope it comes out. It would be nice. February is very close for a game that we have seen very little of. So shrug. Let's hope that we can come back in a month and we can have nice things to say about it.
Okay, that's game of the year predictions. We also did we kind of talked about this with Robin on an episode of the podcast late last year, was gaming trends, and we were talking about a lot of different trends, but then I made everybody put down like genre trends. This is something we posted on the website over break. Oh, also, you mentioned the game release calendar, by the way. That's a thing we curate
Yes.
all year long. If anybody is not aware, 2024 games, all the PC games confirmed so far. You can find that list. We keep up with that every single week, changing release dates. So you can find that. But then genre trends we think are going to define the year. Mollie, I think I made you talk about fighting games. I was just like, Mollie, do your thing, right?
Yeah, you did.
What's happening with fighting games this year?
Yeah, so we've got Tekken 8 coming out at the end of the month. There's also another fighting game, Under Night. It has such a long name. I don't remember the full name. It's like Under Night Rebirth to Sis Celeste or something like that. It's a very long name. It's like an
How
anime.
many pieces of punctuation are in that name? That sounds like a crime.
I think that there's a colon in there somewhere.
And a hyphen, probably.
And a hyphen, yeah. There's a hyphen in the Rebirth. But that's like an anime, like a 2D anime fighter. We've got Tekken 8 coming out. And I am it might be a little bit of copium, but I'm just very much hoping that like PC is seen as more of a home for fighting games than it currently is. It's already kind of getting there. It definitely feels like there was a time where PC was never considered for fighting game stuff, but Tekken 7 had like a pretty big player base on PC. A lot of Street Fighter 6 tournaments are held on PC. It is the standard for the Capcom Pro Tour, if I remember correct. I might be misremembering, but a lot of tournaments have been holding Street Fighter 6 pools on PC. And I really do hope that that continues to be the case. I really hope that we see more PC, more like accessibility to these setups for these tournaments. I think that's part of the reason why it's been console for so long, is just because of accessibility from quite a grassroots community. But Tekken 8 looks pretty good on PC. It was not very well optimized when the initial network test came out, but it's in a much better place now, and I really do hope that PC becomes a little bit more of like the home of fighting games. There's been a little bit of like infighting in recent months because of people like cracking betas in Tekken, and I think it happened in Street Fighter as well. I think that also got cracked, and there has been a large discussion of like PC players shouldn't be able to have demos and network tests because the files get looked at. People go peeping, which I disagree with personally. I don't think you should deprive an entire player base because of like a small group of people that want to look at stuff that if developers don't want you looking at it, don't leave it in there. that is my thought on it. But yeah, fighting games I think are going to have a much bigger year on PC than they ever have. I think PCs at tournaments are going to become more of the norm, and I think that's a very good thing.
I'm excited for you. I'm excited.
Yeah,
The fighting games.
I'm hyped. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh no, we're gonna talk about this later, so I won't ask about it now. I was gonna ask about fighting game tournaments, but we'll get to that in a little bit. What I wrote about cozy games again, I'm just like staying on my bullshit, right? That's my personality now.
Yeah.
Proud of it. And what I think is going to happen this year with cozy games is that things are going to get kind of strange. I think I might have mentioned this late last year on the podcast. I definitely wrote about it over break. That this has not even peaked yet, for sure. Um, what I think is going to happen is that I think the word cozy has proliferated at this point enough to the
Yes.
point that developers and press teams have taken notice. So I am expecting to get a lot more things in my inbox this year that say cozy. I'm expecting a lot more Steam store pages to be using the word cozy. That I think people have figured out that like that's a new genre adjacent thing that they can align themselves with to find an
Yeah.
audience, right? Which means, you know, as we saw with roguelites, as we saw with Souls likes, as we've seen when everything was a Metroidvania, you know, I don't know if cozy is going to be the biggest trend of 2024, but I think it's going to be one of those things where suddenly stuff is like things are calling themselves cozy games, and you're like, okay,
Hmm.
okay, if you say so. I'm not sure if I agree, but that's fine. Not that we want to gatekeep, for sure. We are not gatekeeping around here, but it is important when you're talking about an audience of consumers to stay true to the expectations they have around the thing that you are trying to sell them, right?
Yes.
Especially in my opinion for like it's one thing for roguelites and it's one thing for, you know, souls likes. It's one thing for like audiences that are very practiced and literate in the differences between subgenres of games. And the thing about cozy gaming is that it does involve a lot of people who were not in gaming for a long time or are returning, don't have that same vocabulary of genres in their tool belt. They don't have as much practice. They are not as literate in it. So I do feel slightly protective in that I don't always want to see people running around calling things like Cult of the Lamb a cozy game.
I was
Um,
just about to bring this up. Yeah, I saw some discourse around like games like Cult of the Lamb and Dredge and whether they could
yes,
be considered cozy or not. And I saw like a lot of people like fighting about this. I forget where I saw this happen.
there's someone I
Um
follow on TikTok who talked about disliking Cult of the Lamb because she
because
wanted
of
to
the
play the like colony management thing and
we
felt
saw
that
the
it
same
had
thing.
been yes, and felt that it had been advertised as like that was a core part of the game. And I think it she struck me as someone who does have decent experience with games potentially. I'm not sure what her personal history is, but still I get that feeling of like you and I look at Cult of the Lamb and we're like that's an action roguelite. That's like the Binding of
Mhm.
Isaac. The cult management stuff is just like that's a tiny part. That's not the whole game. So yeah, I do feel protective of that audience, and I don't want them to like feel enticed by things that are not
Yeah.
going to be for them. Like if you want to branch out, if you want to try games that are more difficult than when you normally play, or like have different parts, that's great. But I don't want you to walk into Cult of the Lamb and be shocked that like you're doing a lot of combat because like you will
Yeah.
be.
I think she was also disappointed that like focusing too much on the cult management side like breaks the game. I
Oh yeah,
think.
there were like bugs associated with having too big of a yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was like something that creator had also been disappointed with. I also saw that discourse, yeah. So
Yeah.
glad to know that we're on the same side of TikTok. But yeah, I think that the term like cozy is getting a lot looser now of what that means. You know, we even discussed like is Dredge a cozy game? And I had said no initially and then had kind of come round and said like, yeah, I think
Maybe,
it
yeah.
is. And then over the break I had seen a lot of discourse of people saying that Dredge absolutely was not a cozy game.
Hmm.
Um, so it's hard, especially when people's definitions differ so greatly. So
Yeah.
I
It's
am
a hard one to
interested to see.
define.
Yeah, it's becoming
Uh
kind of like indie, I think. Cozy is
right.
like, yeah,
It's a
cozy
vibe.
is yeah, it's a vibe. Yeah, it's I think it's definitely becoming kind of what indie
Hmm.
what happened to that term, I think, where it just became broader and broader and broader and
Hmm.
stopped being more of like such a strict definition and just, you know, a
Yeah.
vibe.
So I expect a lot more of that this year. And importantly, foundationally, yeah, I don't want to gatekeep anybody out of games. I don't want to set hard and fast red tape around what you're allowed to call games, but I do feel very protective of that audience, you know, finding a home in gaming, specifically PC gaming, specifically on their dang Steam decks. A lot of those folks playing cozy games have Steam decks, let me tell you. And I feel very protective of them not, feeling like they can't take the appropriate steps to get into things that they want to get into, or finding winding up where they don't want to be. Because, we should all be winding up playing the games and having the experiences that we were looking for. And not, you can call Skyrim cozy if you feel cozy while playing Skyrim. That's fine. But don't you dare tell somebody to play Skyrim after Stardew Valley. And I don't think anybody's genuinely doing that.
Yeah.
That's for gags. That's for giggles. And I think it's usually pretty signposted. But don't do that. That's rude. That's my rant for this year. What game are you personally most excited for? Not game of the year, Molly, but your most anticipated. I think we did a story about this too. From the whole team.
I think personally, me, obviously it's Tekken 8. That is the game that I'm most excited for, especially because it's so close as well. It's just a couple weeks away at the moment. It's the end of January that is coming out. I am very, very excited for that. I played a lot of Tekken 8 weirdly last year between a preview event, going to tournaments and it being at tournaments, and the beta test, and I went to a gaming event and played it there as well. I've already played Tekken 8 quite a lot, which I'm very fortunate about, and I'm still excited to play it, which is a good thing. I'm very hyped for it. I'm very much looking forward to it. So because that's so close as well, I think that's kind of what's grabbing my attention the most right now. And then there's also Dawn Trail, which is Final Fantasy XIV's new expansion. That's coming out this summer. By the time this episode goes up, we should have a release date. Because the Japan Fan Fest is happening as we're recording this. Yeah, as we're recording this. So we should have a release date by the time this podcast episode is up, which very exciting. It's sometime
Insert
this summer.
Release date here. We don't know it.
Yeah, release date. Hopefully we
go to your search bar, pcgamer.com, Final Fantasy 14 Dawn Trail. Press enter.
Hopefully we have that. That would be very cool to have that. So yeah, those are my two biggies, my two loves, my fighting games and my MMOs, and two very cool things from that coming out this year. I could take a guess at what yours might be, but go ahead.
Once again, early in the year, we have a Yakuza game coming out, and as we know, I completely failed to play both of the Yakuza games. They were both spin-off games that came out last year. One was a remake, and one was a new spin-off game. I will play Gaiden, I will play Ishin. I feel badly that I haven't, but Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is coming out at the end of January. I will be playing that. That is the direct follow-up sequel to Yakuza Like a Dragon. It has good boy Ichiban in it. I was at a hands-on preview actually months ago and only got to write about it this last week. You can find that on the website, my initial thoughts about it. I am excited to play. It's it's more Yakuza in it. It is
Yep.
a bigger map. It's leaving Japan. The crew is going to Honolulu City. But it's still Yakuza. You're going to Hawaii, so the stores are different. The various things are different, the decor, all this stuff. But that's a Yakuza game. It's not fundamentally different from what it's ever been, because that series rarely fundamentally changes. All I want to do is play 120 hours of it and probably cry. That's what I want to do.
I feel like Yakuza is one of those games that really does just benefit from not breaking the mold.
Yeah,
I feel like sticking to its formula just does so well for it. I don't see why it would ever want to significantly change.
That's the whole selling point in my mind. It just is what it is, and it's high drama, it's ridiculous. I will forever miss the action combat.
I was gonna say, is it sticking with the turn-based?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is still turn-based, and I know some people have liked it. I have a special place in my heart for the brawler combat, because I don't like brawler combat in literally anything else. Only for so I'm excited for that at the end of the month. My other most anticipated for this year, probably Light Your Frontier is one that I'm looking forward to. That's a co-op farming sim crafting thing with mechs.
Yes.
And as you know, I have a core crew of like crafting survival people, including my partner who is a mech enjoyer. So I'm really hoping that is our next thing, like Valheim, that we're playing for like at least a month straight when that comes out. Yeah, I want to do farming in mechs for sure. And then Fields of Mystria. That might be my like actual most anticipated on the list of like cozy games for the year that are coming out. Like I do really Fields of Mystria is the one that's like it looks like Sailor Moon basically. It's very
How have I not heard
anime.
of this?
What you have, Molly? I have
No,
for sure
I
shown
haven't.
this to you. Are
No,
you kidding me right
I
now?
haven't. Send this to me after this podcast. Because I need to see this.
I swear to you, I'm copying it right now and I'm sending it to you because
You can't say Sailor Moon farming cozy sim and expect me to.
actually go to the
No, I
homepage
have
of our
not.
web.
I have not seen this. Oh my god.
It is very like early farm sims, like old Harvest Moon inspired and like
Yeah.
anime of the 90s inspired. Yeah.
This looks banging. Oh my god.
Scroll down and look at the spouses, because how am I supposed to pick one? Rude.
Wait, we can see waifus already? And
Yes.
husbandos. Sorry to my husband. Oh my... Nah, Juniper? 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 I will be calling up Juniper as soon as this game comes out.
I did not have a magical girl era as a kid. I was like a Pokemon or bust pretty much as a child. So I really just want to feel those vibes, I think.
Yeah.
So that's one of my most anticipated for the year for sure. We did a whole podcast episode at the end of last year also about like developers to watch for in 2024. So you can go back and listen to that for like a longer conversation. Did you have any one particular that you're like we're feeling really strong about? Like, yeah, you need to pay attention to what this developer is doing for this year.
That's a good question. I think the one that I spoke about the most was the Paralives developer. Just because I want to see what he's doing. Especially now Life by You is coming out as well, which is another game that's hoping to rival The Sims. I want to see what the Paralives developer is doing. That's probably my one that I could think of off the top of my head right now.
I think the one I was feeling most excited about at the time is either like IO Interactive. We don't know anything about the 007 game they're doing. So I hope that this year is the year that we see something on it. Like, give me a trailer, give me something to like clutch. But the thing that we have seen a trailer of is Moon Studios, the folks that did Ori and the Blind Forest, are doing an ARPG, like Diablo style, like top-down action RPG. And I think that's wild. That's a wild genre change, but like go after it. Like I can't, it looks beautiful because their games always look beautiful. They want to shake up, they want to revolutionize the ARP genre and like, okay, all right, do it. I dare you. I want to play whatever that turns out to be. For sure. And I don't know if it's going to be this year, but we'll probably see more of it this year. Ins and outs. You had a trendy bit you wanted to do.
Yeah, so I've noticed this year it's been less New Year's resolutions, which we have already spoken about.
Yes.
And people have been doing their like ins and outs instead. Mm-hmm. Like what are people's ins for 2024 and what's out? What is like so not vogue anymore? What's not hip anymore? What's out your life? So
most people are doing this for like their community of things, right? But like you're talking about for like you personally. Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm doing it for me.
Ins and outs for Molly.
Yeah, my ins and outs, okay? My out straight away, my out for 2024 is game industry layoffs. I would like those gone out the door.
Thank you for
please.
Getting a handle on that, Molly. I'm glad that you were in control of it and you're
stop.
I'm so happy.
I am hereby outlawing any and all video game layoffs. If you get laid off, I will send the game industry wizards.
Come talk to Molly.
Yeah.
And sorry, not to make light. This is serious and we've talked about it. Like,
this is very serious.
But at this point, what do you do? Apparently laugh and cry a little bit.
Yeah, if you're not laughing, you're crying, right? And I had spoken in a previous episode as well of like having very good friends that have lost their jobs in the industry this year and last year, and it sucked. It's really sucked to see. So that I want out. I want gone. No more of that, please. Thank you. And then on a slightly lighter note, I am out with unnecessary Steam sale purchases. No more. No more spending, be like, oh, this game is £5. Ooh. Like, I saw Celeste was like £4 in the Steam winter sale, and I had to sit down and be like, Molly, are you realistically ever going to play Celeste? And I know Celeste is a very good game. I very much respect Celeste as a game. I
But are you
don't
going to sit down and
play.
play it?
Am I going to sit down and play it? Absolutely, I am not. That is just not the kind of game that I will sit down and play and finish. It's just not for me. So I talked myself out of buying that, even though it was super cheap. So no more spending like $5 on a game that I know I'm not going to play, but I bought it because I know it's good and it's cheap. Live service games, I would like to see those leave as well, please, because there are too many of them, and I only have so much mental bandwidth, and a lot of them aren't lasting, which again is tying into just us seeing layoffs of companies that are kind of having to make these things and then they're not banging. So yeah,
I can
out.
only do so many dailies every day. I
Yep.
can't have homework. I can't have gaming homework. Please.
I
No.
can't like keep tabs on when every game resets each day and then go into those games. No. So out with that, and out with running out of storage. Out with that. Out with not having any fucking storage to put my games on. I was gifted a 2 terabyte hard drive SSD for Christmas, and I've also had a 2 terabyte NVMe just lying around for like 3 months that I didn't put in my PC because I only have one NVMe slot and it's taken up.
Are you positive? Because I thought that too, and I found out that I looked at my board. I was like, "Oh, there's one hidden. There's
No,
one hidden." Oh, you really
I
only have one.
googled the board. I
Uh,
thought I had more, and then I googled it when the NVMe arrived, and it turned
yeah.
out that I didn't. So I was
Oh.
like, and that NVMe had my OS on it. So, but I was such a big girl. My 2 terabyte SSD came. I put that in. It took me way too long to realize that one of the panels on my pre-built PC came off. Put the SSD in. I migrated my OS over to the SSD. I took out the NVMe. I put the 2 terabyte NVMe in. I put the OS back on the NVMe. Oh my god, I was so proud of
You
myself.
spent so much of break like cleaning your room on your PC for real. Like you also
I
did your Steam library. You just
I
like
did. I feel so proud. I have RAM coming as well because because I have a pre-built. I have 16 gig of RAM, single channel. Um
oh, jeez.
yeah, for like 3 years now. I've just been dealing with that. That is
Mm-hmm.
something that I have not fixed, but I've got RAM on the way. I'm fixing it. So anyway, those are my outs. No more running out of storage. No more games layoffs. No more unnecessary Steam sale purchases. Less live service games. My ends. My ends are fighting game tournaments. Give me more of them. I wish to play. I hope I do good. Single player games, because I don't want live service games. I want cool single player games that I can play in like 10 to 50 hours and be like, that was so cool. Now I'm gonna forget about that game for the next 5 years. And then I'll go, oh, I really want to play that game again. And then I'll reinstall it. And extreme hardware and desktop customization. I want
Ooh.
everything like kitted out to the nines. I want like the most grotesque, garish wallpaper engine set up on my desktop. I want stuff. I want like you to like look at my PC setup and go, "What the fuck, Molly? That looks terrible." But
Maximalist.
I want to I want to be like a maximalist PC gamer. I want it to look so garish that it's like it like hurts to look at, but kind of in a good way. That's what I want. That's my in.
You're
That's
gonna
my
be my
in.
inspo. Please get it done so that I can just copy your homework. Thank you. Let's see. For me, out also running out of storage. Same thing. Yes, I posted in our work chat like right before Black Friday my drive space, what it looks like in
Yes.
File Explorer, and it kicked off other people sharing their embarrassing ones. But literally, all of my drives were in the red. It was like a truly Molly. I have to download the video of our podcast every week, right, to hand them off to somebody else, I had to delete them and then empty my recycle bin every single week,
Oh
or
my
I would
God.
have no space on my C drive. That's the situation I was in. It was embarrassing. So I did find an extra NVMe slot on my machine, so I have another drive. I have cleaned up my act by not solving any problems and just getting more space. But they, it's better. And also out is arguing about genres, which I literally just did, so I'm sorry. But also I did say you can do whatever you want and call things whatever you want. Just be respectful of other people. But no more arguing about genres. Souls-like is a genre. Shut up. It like literally
don't
is.
tell my boyfriend that. don't tell my partner that Souls-like is a genre. He will. We've had arguments.
Can identify the gameplay constraints of a thing that is a Souls-like. Cozy's less of a genre than Souls-like is by a mile, and I'm going to keep using it. So,
thank you, Lauren, for speaking your truth today.
You're welcome. Binging is back in. What an unhealthy year I'm setting up. I'm so stupid. Binging games is back
right?
in.
Games.
I did, as I said, I did a lot of snacking last year, and I did a lot of like not really like trying a thing, like getting into it, putting it down, going to a new thing. Like, you know what? I think one of the best examples from late last year was that I spent a whole weekend playing Fabledom, and that wound up on my list of cozy games from last year that I thought were the best. Also, Chris's City Builder list. Fabledom got the mention twice from us. Chris and I both really liked it. But I was like, you know what? I'm glad that I spent a whole weekend just playing Fabledom. I feel strong about having played that game, and I just want to I don't need to go back and play another 20 hours, but I'm glad I put 20 hours in over one single weekend, and now I'm like, yep, that one's good.
Yeah.
And deep dives from a media perspective and content creation perspective. I spend a lot of time on TikTok. I want to spend less time on TikTok. Twitter is dead, and now I just doom scroll elsewhere. So that's not good. I still need to stay engaged on TikTok for following trends and work purposes, and also just for fun and my own brain rot purposes. But I do want to spend more time watching YouTube YouTube content creators. I want to spend more time watching videos that are 10 plus minutes long of people talking at length about an experience, and not the 5 games coming out this month that I haven't played yet, but I'm going to show you a snippet of the trailer for them. I want less of those, and I want to watch more deep personal experience content.
I want more
stuff.
icebergs. I want more. Did you see the Reddit post in the Grand Theft Auto subreddit that was a deep dive into what SPF was being used by a couple on the beach? It is very clearly a shit post, but the level of effort that went into creating that's what I want.
Was it Dark Souls level lore stuff about the SPF? Or no, literally just the number SPF, not the brand of...
Yeah, just the number SPF was
okay.
What number, what SPF was this woman having sprayed onto her by presumably her partner in
and what does this tell us about
snippet.
Vice City?
Or a 2-second snippet of the trailer. And like I said, it was a shit post. So obviously a shit post. But a shit post with effort that I don't think I have ever put that much effort into anything in my entire life. This person put so much effort into this shit post. And that's what I want my deep dives to be.
Please be on your bullshit this year, everybody.
Be on your bullshit
level. Spend an absurd amount of time doing something, and maybe tell us about it.
Please.
Yeah, that's the year that we've got ahead from us, right? Did I miss anything? We got anything else going? Is that it? Just the last hour of us talking?
I think we're good. I think just an hour of us yapping.
Well, then we'll be back next week. Thank you for scrolling back through chat with us this week. You can always find more news, reviews, guides, opinions from the rest of our team at pcgamer.com. And you can chat with Mollie and I about this week's episode at forums.pcgamer.com, where you can tell us your gaming resolutions for this year, your extremely early game of the year prediction. Are we getting it right, or did we forget about something entirely that is actually going to be the real game of the year? Yeah. Thank you so much. Welcome back to Chatlog and to the year 2024.
Woo!
We'll see more of it. Bye.